So this is Nordic Astro, astrology by the extraterrestrials. You know, they use the planets actually as instruments, and the entire star calculations are part of the navigation. Anything that we discuss that has to do with sightings, UFOs, all that subject is really time travel. We're talking here time travel and dimensions and the layers of reality that I mentioned, which change 200 miles into low Earth orbit. So all these subjects, you remind them, we call them as a function of time travel. Philip Corso Jr, who is the son of Colonel Corso, has given very updated, profound, deep informations to Kevin Moore in an 80-minute interview. You should watch that. He explains what his father knew. His father, Colonel Corso, as you know, was really the head of MJ-12. He was the 13th. MJ-12 reported to him, and Colonel Corso reported to whoever was president, from Eisenhower all the way to Reagan. He was even kind of friends with Reagan. He was the man who would direct all of the secret projects. He had seen the crash disk and the EBE, and he had talked with his son. So Phil Corso Jr, who is still alive, he's only 74 years old, talks a great deal in depth about what this time travel really is about. And he said his father explained to him they had all of the technology, everything from the craft except the biology. They were not able to replicate the living craft, let alone, of course, a navigator pilot. In all these discussions, we need to remember what John Keel said about the phenomenon. And really, we could say what we see, what is our reality and what we know, is about 1% of what is, and 99% we don't see, we don't have a clue, it's infinite. And that's the unknown. And we are now going with the new astrology of 2020, 21 and on into the unknown. We're going to discover a real astrology, a new astronomy. We have to learn the physics of space to understand how we are wired vis-a-vis space. And we have to study a new mathematics. Those are all the subjects that are going to come, I think, when Pluto goes through Aquarius, when new system management comes about. That will be a 20-year phase starting from 24 to 44. We discussed already Pluto in Aquarius, changing society. The Pluto discussions follow these 240-year cycles, and when they meet with Saturn and Jupiter like they will now in 2020, that's almost an 800-year cycle to have such a direct contact of the three major planets starting a new cycle. What's really going on now in the next 2 years, 2019 and 20, is the ending of a cycle. Imagine like a new moon, when the moon goes into the sun and then it starts again. So you have these planetary cycle, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, Pluto, the three of them creating almost like this dance of planets, back forth, and then they go into Aquarius in 2021. It's during this time, so that's in 2 years to 3 years, that I feel we will be discussing the new frontiers of time travel, where we will see what we're discussing in a better light, because at the moment very few people actually know the technologies. It's all compartmentalized and so secret, and even those who know, like Phil Corso Jr, he says, I can talk about some things, but a lot of other things he prefers not yet to talk. So this is the world we live in, and the question is now, with these planetary alignments, will something change? Will maybe a new kind of disclosure take place? So we're seeing the disclosure going on in sense of a perception of a new reality. We're hearing from many governments stories that we would never have heard before, would never have been declassified or leaked. But there's also declassification going on, where governments are volitionally saying, have at it, look at the UFOs out of the pilot cockpit, look at the documents with Clinton and Yeltsin for the last 20 years. There are documents they're releasing now that are proving what the Pentagon was planning in 1964, right after Kennedy was gone. And the plans were not good. They were actually considering to take out China and Russia. All these documents have now been made public and are beginning to change the perception of people all over the world, also in Europe, As to who is going to be friends with whom, I told you the alliances will shift. Jupiter in Sagittarius will bring us new international treaties. This has already started, and next year will be one of the big subjects, together with space exploration and the opening of knowledge.